The night my family almost destroyed my life didn't start with yelling or drama. It started with silence, the kind of silence that feels wrong before you even understand why. I had just left a late client meeting in downtown Phoenix, exhausted but relieved, thinking about getting home to my 10-year-old daughter Lily. She was supposed to be with my mother for the evening, like always when I worked late, but when my headlights swept across our driveway, I saw Lily sitting on the front steps, slumped sideways, backpack still on, face pale like she'd been drained of color. My brother stood in the doorway scrolling his phone. My mother stood behind him, calm, arms folded. Something inside me broke before I even reached her. I ran to Lily, dropped to my knees, shaking so badly I could barely feel for her pulse. Her breathing was shallow, lips trembling. I screamed her name. My brother shrugged and said she'd been acting dramatic after some juice he gave her. My mother added softly that kids get tired sometimes. I called 911 with hands so numb I dropped the phone twice. The paramedics arrived fast, but the look on one of their faces told me this wasn't normal. As they lifted Lily onto the stretcher, the older paramedic leaned close and whispered, "Ma'am, I've seen this before," and the man standing there was at the last scene too. That's when everything changed. At the hospital, doctors found high doses of medication in Lily's system, mixed carefully, not enough to kill her, just enough to make her collapse. Bruises on her arms that weren't new. Patterns. The nurse quietly told me they were calling child services and police automatically. When Lily finally woke up, she grabbed my hand and whispered that my brother had made her drink something special and said if she didn't, he'd tell everyone she was a baby. Then he pushed her onto the steps so I'd think she fell. But what broke me wasn't the poisoning. It was when she said, "He said Grandpa's money would be his when I got sick." That sentence opened the door to the nightmare. My family was wealthy, not flashy, but old money comfortable. My father had built a logistics company that handled pharmaceutical shipping contracts across the Southwest. My late grandfather left a massive trust, meant for Lily as the first grandchild, with a clause saying if she was ever declared medically unable to manage assets, the inheritance would transfer to the next adult heir, my brother. I had never known about that clause, and suddenly everything made sense. The special juice, the fake concern, the calm faces on the porch. This wasn't an accident, it was a plan. I didn't scream. I didn't confront them again. I did something smarter. I called my old college friend Noah, now a forensic data analyst who worked fraud cases for banks. I asked him to find everything about my brother. Travel records, purchases, phones, cash movements. 6 hours later, he sent me a folder that made my hands shake. For the last 3 years, my brother had traveled across multiple states under fake names. Each trip lined up with hospital reports of children collapsing from mysterious medication ingestion. Same drugs, same doses, always survivable, always unexplained. He was practicing, perfecting the formula. And every time, my parents covered it up by paying settlements quietly when questions got too loud. Lily was never the first victim. She was just the final one. We gathered evidence, security footage, pharmacy receipts, hospital toxicology reports, burner phone pings, financial documents showing my brother had accessed my grandfather's trust papers months earlier. The more we uncovered, the clearer it became. My family wasn't just protecting him, they were helping him, waiting for Lily to be declared unfit, waiting for the money to move. Instead of going to police quietly, I waited. My father was hosting his company's annual investor gala 2 weeks later, a huge event streamed live, full of executives, lawyers, and journalists. I told everyone Lily was recovering well. I told my family nothing, and I planned everything. That night, I walked on stage to accept a leadership award my company had nominated me for, smiling, calm. The big screen behind me glowed white. I said, "This award is for every child who trusted the wrong people." Then the footage rolled. My brother buying medication with cash, my brother handing drinks to kids in parking lots. Hospital reports stacking across the screen, the trust clause highlighted, the texts asking lawyers how fast money transfers after medical declarations. Gasps filled the ballroom. My parents froze. My brother stood up, face drained. Then 4 teenagers stood from different tables, kids he'd poisoned years ago, pointing straight at him. That's him. The live stream exploded. My brother tried to run. Federal agents tackled him in front of everyone. My father screamed. My mother collapsed. Cameras flashed like fireworks, and the truth burned through the room. The trials lasted months. My brother was convicted on multiple counts of attempted murder, fraud, and interstate poisoning. 40 years in federal prison. My parents were charged as accomplices for covering evidence and financial conspiracy. The trust was transferred fully into Lily's name with court protections. Additional damages funded therapy and a child safety foundation for victims of family abuse. We moved, changed our names, started over. Lily still has nightmares sometimes, but fewer now. She plays soccer, laughs again, trusts again, and every night before bed, she says, "Mom, he can't hurt me anymore, right?" And I say, "Never again." I learned something through all of it. Evil doesn't always look like strangers in the dark. Sometimes it wears your brother's face. Sometimes it hides behind parents who smile. But truth always catches up. Always. If you're watching this and someone in your family is hurting your child, believe your instincts. Document everything. Protect them fiercely. Because love doesn't poison. Love doesn't manipulate. Love doesn't stay silent. And sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is expose the people who raised you. If this story shook you, leave a comment with where you're watching from. And if you believe truth always comes out, like and subscribe for more real-life inspired stories of justice and survival.